Title: Midnight in the Mausoleum, Truth or Dare Among the Graves. Welcome to the darkest depths of your imagination, where nightmares come to life. This is Dreamy Nightmares, the abyss of horror stories that will haunt your every thought. The night was thick with fog as four friends, Mark, Sarah, Jake, and Lisa, crept through the wrought iron gates of the old cemetery. Their flashlights cast eerie beams that danced over the tombstones and mausoleums like restless spirits. Mark, the ringleader, carried an antique Ouija board under his arm. Tonight, he declared, we're going to play a game we'll never forget, Truth or Dare Among the Graves. The mausoleum at the center of the cemetery stood like a sentinel, its cold stone walls seemingly whispering ancient secrets. Its imposing doors creaked open as if beckoning them inside. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. Jake, always up for a challenge, grinned. I'll go first, he said, taking the lead. Truth or dare? Sarah, nervous but trying to sound brave, replied, dare. Jake pointed at the looming mausoleum. I dare you to go inside alone and stay there for 5 minutes. Sarah hesitated, but she didn't want to appear afraid in front of her friends. She grabbed her flashlight and, with trembling hands, entered the mausoleum. The air inside was icy, and the walls seemed to close in on her. She could hear her friends' hushed whispers outside as they waited for her to return. Time dragged on. Sarah's flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the crypt's marble walls. Just as she thought she couldn't bear it any longer, she heard a faint whisper, a voice that seemed to call her name from deep within the mausoleum. Her heart pounded as she stumbled back outside, her skin pale. What happened in there? Lisa asked, her eyes wide with concern. I heard a voice, Sarah stammered. It called my name. Mark chuckled nervously. Must have been your imagination. My turn. Jake, truth or dare? Truth. Mark grinned. Have you ever stolen anything? Jake laughed, relieved by the lighter question. Yeah, a candy bar when I was a kid. As they continued playing, the dares became progressively more daring. They climbed the tallest tombstone, recited incantations from a dusty old book, and even danced on a grave, all under the watchful eyes of the moonlit cemetery. But as the night wore on, a sense of unease settled over them. They felt as if they were being watched, not by the dead, but by something else, something malevolent. Lisa, her voice quivering, asked Mark, are you sure this is a good idea? I've got a bad feeling about all this. Mark, determined to prove his bravery, brushed her concern aside. Come on, Lisa. It's just a game. My turn. Sarah, truth or dare? Sarah hesitated but eventually chose dare again. Mark grinned mischievously. I dare you to use the Ouija board inside the mausoleum and try to contact a spirit. The temperature dropped as they re-entered the mausoleum. Sarah set up the Ouija board on a dusty stone slab, and the four friends placed their hands on the planchette. Mark started the session. Is there anyone here with us? He asked, his voice quivering. At first, nothing happened. The planchette remained still, and the room was silent. Then, slowly, it began to move. It spelled out, HELP. Chills ran down their spines as the planchette continued to spell out words. It told a story of a restless spirit named Eleanor who had been wronged and needed their help to find peace. Her presence became palpable, and the room grew colder by the second. Terrified, they said goodbye to Eleanor and hastily packed up the Ouija board. As they left the mausoleum, the door slammed shut behind them with a deafening thud. Panic overtook them as they struggled to open it, but it seemed as if it had been sealed from the inside. They were trapped. Inside the mausoleum, they could hear whispers, faint cries for help, and the eerie sound of footsteps approaching. Their flashlights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, and they realized they were no longer alone. The walls of the mausoleum seemed to pulse with a sinister energy. Desperate, they tried to contact Eleanor again with the Ouija board, hoping she could help them escape. But instead of Eleanor's spirit, something malevolent took control. The planchette moved rapidly, spelling out a single word, DIE. The room grew freezing cold, and a chilling wind swept through. Sarah screamed as an invisible force pushed her to the ground, her body contorting in agony. Her friends could only watch in horror as she was pulled towards the mausoleum's walls, vanishing into the stone. Mark, Lisa, and Jake were now truly trapped, and they could feel the malevolent presence closing in. They had ventured too far into the world of the supernatural, and now, they faced a fate worse than death. As the first light of dawn broke through the windows, the mausoleum stood silent and still, a silent sentinel guarding its macabre secrets and the souls it had claimed. Stay tuned, because this channel has yet to uncover the darkest nightmares. Don't close your eyes just yet, for there's always more terror lurking in the shadows.